Welcome to the Get Over Yourself podcast. This is Brad Kearns. I cover health, fitness, peak performance, personal growth, relationships, happiness, and longevity. So slow down, take a deep breath, take a cold plunge, and pursue your competitive goals in all areas of life with great intensity and passion, but release your attachment to the outcome and learn to have fun along the way. That's the theme of the show. Here we go.
The supposed medical benefits of the infrared to me are a bit dubious because all the benefits they list are the same benefits that a sauna generates. Of course, you don't want to get so hot that it's unhealthy, but most studies say that 200 degrees or less is perfectly fine. And yes, you do have quite an endorphin release when you're in there, and then you go from the extreme heat into extreme cold.
Here's a quick thank you to our sponsors. They make this show possible and the tremendous production behind it online and in audio. Thank you, wildideabuffalo.com. Grass-fed, locally raised on the Great Plains for the last 130,000 years. Quit eating that junk food feedlot cattle and get some quality meat into your life. And thank you, DNAfit.com. Cutting-edge genetic testing, delivering customized diet and exercise recommendations for your peak performance. Use the discount code GOY30. Get over yourself. Integro Probiotics make this fabulous liquid probiotic high potency. It's called Flourish, so your microbiome can flourish. Gut health is everything. Get started. Visit entegrohealth.com. And Tribali Foods, pre-made, creatively flavored hamburger and chicken patties. When you're in a rush, drop one down, fry it up. It's delicious. Tribali. And Almost Heaven. That's the name of my sauna. These are beautiful home-use saunas made of real wood, shipped to your door, easy to assemble, and then you are rocking. That's right, I'm going from chest freezer cold therapy into the hot barrel sauna. Check them out at almostheaven.com. And the Primal Blueprint online multimedia educational courses. To go primal, go keto, get a stand-up desk going, master the challenge of endurance training. Go to bradkearns.com and click on the links to learn more about these courses. If you're sick of my voice on the podcast, you can now get sick of my face too on the videos. And ancestral supplements. This is grass-fed liver, organ meats, and bone marrow delivered in a convenient gelatin capsule. Don't stress about cooking liver anymore. Just pop some pills or throw capsules into a smoothie every day like me. Hey listeners, how would you like to listen to a show about the wonderful world of sauna? I connect with Rick Mouw of Almost Heaven Saunas. These guys are a podcast sponsor, full disclosure, and this guy is the owner of a sauna company, so I don't want it to sound like a commercial or push one over on you that we're trying to sell something, but you know what? He's a passionate enthusiast of this health practice, has been for many years. I am now an extremely passionate enthusiast of this health practice, having my Almost Heaven unit in my backyard, paired with the wonderful cold tub chest freezer, so I can do hot and cold therapy at a moment's notice. So I think you're going to like the show. And Rick gets into some really interesting topics relating to the best practices. We talk a little bit about the benefits, not to get too sciencey. There's so many good articles and content on the internet. Dr. Rhonda Patrick with her wonderful videos discussing the benefits of sauna and the heat shock proteins that are stimulated when you expose yourself to hot temperatures. I'm particularly fascinated about the fitness benefits, the cardiovascular benefits of sitting in a sauna can actually make you a fitter athlete. And this is new stuff that we never even considered back in the day. We used to laugh at guys who would take their exercise bikes into the sauna and do a workout preparing for the Hawaii Ironman, the extreme temperatures of an upcoming competition. And it seemed like something that would just make you tired and sweat 7 pounds of fluid out. But it actually does have an effect at the red blood cell plasma volume level. So the athletic benefits of a heat regimen are proven and very strong and very compelling. And the idea of getting your body temperature up and getting sweaty, even to the point of being uncomfortable, is a wonderful hormetic stressor. That's a stressor that delivers an overall positive adaptation. So we get this fight or flight spike when we go in the sauna, and then we recalibrate, we go back to homeostasis, or we do a contrast therapy with hot and cold. And we're going to get into a lot of these topics during the show, but I just wanted to tee you up cleanly for what Rick and I are going to talk about. Alert you that it might sound commercially since we're talking about a product from a business owner, but hey, if you don't want to visit almostheaven.com, that's fine, but miss out at your own risk, because the sauna experience is really a wonderful part and a wonderful balance to hectic, high-tech, modern life, where we run out of time every single day to do things that are health boosting and relaxing, stimulating the parasympathetic response. Of course, after you get out and get over that fight or flight spike, that's the whole point of what sauna and cold exposure is doing, is an immediate stress response and then a recalibration where you feel those endorphins and that relaxation effect. And we got into this at the very end of the show just for a little bit, but I wanted to elaborate on the psychological and the social benefits of having a practice such as sauna or cold exposure. And since I put my chest freezer and sauna in the backyard, this backyard has come alive to be a social centerpiece for young people like my girlfriend's kids and my own kid and his friends, who will drive out of their way to come out and hang out and try the cold tub. It's a fascination. Oh my gosh, it's so cold, you got to try it. And then going in back and forth, and also going into the hot spa. And it's such a beautiful thing to see people convene over something other than a busy, crowded, noisy restaurant, or going to a movie where you sit and watch another screen, a bigger screen, and now we can talk and have fun and laugh and sit in the box and relax, and that's where the conversation really starts to flow. There's a podcast now defunct between Gabby Reese and Neil Strauss called The Truth Barrel, and their gimmick was that they recorded the shows in their hot sauna so that people could relax and unwind and let it flow. And it really does work. And just like my ritual I've had with my son our entire life in the jacuzzi, he's been going in there with me every night since he was 0 years old. I have pictures of me holding on to this little body above the bubbly water and going in through the teenage years, where oftentimes you don't get a chance to have quality time and quality talk, but things sort of flow and let loose when you're sitting in hot water, and especially sitting in the hot barrel where you're just relaxed and smiling and feeling good. And so don't discount those social and psychological benefits of having a devoted health practice like sauna, like cold exposure, like pairing them together. It's wonderful and a super necessary element to inject into our busy, hectic, fast-paced modern lives. So please enjoy this show with Rick Mouw of Almost Heaven Saunas. Rick Mouw from Almost Heaven Saunas, here to talk about heat therapy and the wonderful world of sauna. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Brad. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm so glad to get hooked up and find out about your operation there from the amazing David Lapp, health enthusiast, who we exchange emails all the time. And he says, yeah, I also got my own sauna, put it together really easily, and it's in my basement, and I'm rocking and rolling. And I'm like, whoa, because I love going to the health club and sitting in the sauna or doing it after the workout. But to have that opportunity right in your home environment, to me especially, because I'm like a creature of habit and visual stimulation of whatever's around me, boy, this is a wonderful new world. And I know they've been doing it a long time in Europe, but it seems like you're on the forefront of something awesome here in the North American market, to have home sauna use become reasonable and affordable.
Yeah, we've become, I think, the largest manufacturer of do-it-yourself, assemble-in-the-home sauna kits in North America. So we're very proud of that, but it's got a lot to do with awareness and people like you, learning about the benefits and the ease of owning your own sauna. So it's an exciting time for us.
So it's interesting, Rick, you told me when we weren't recording how you got started in the family business and transitioned into all these luxury therapeutic type of opportunities. Tell me about your career path to get to this point.
Well, the simple story and short story is I grew up in the swimming pool business and a family business. That evolved into a hot tub business. And later that evolved into a sauna business when we purchased a sauna company called Almost Heaven Saunas over 20 years ago. Since that time, we got out of the hot tub business, and the sauna business has just rocketed, and it's an exciting time to be in this industry, that's for sure.
So I've been a hot tub user my entire life, absolutely love the relaxing regimen. I told you it's a place where I've bonded with my son over the years since he was 1 year old, and I'd take him out there, and now he's 20, and we go and talk about life and just have that nice setting and that nice ritual. But in terms of the physical experience, when you're going and heating your body temperature up, sweating inside the hot room, how does that differ from the spa experience?
Well, the sauna is different in that I guess I look at the hot tub as being more relaxation, whereas the sauna is relaxing but adds the element of wellness into the equation. In addition to being very low maintenance, very low operational costs, it's more of a practical product for many people. Many spa hot tub people are now purchasing saunas either in addition to their hot tub or replacing it. The many health benefits of the sauna include, aerobic conditioning, detox, respiratory relief, joint and muscle relief, arthritis relief, improved skin tone, just all these many benefits, many of which are medically documented, have created a wonderful opportunity for saunas and awareness that just wasn't there 10 years ago.
Yes, let's talk about that aerobic conditioning aspect, because it is kind of a bizarre concept to get hit with, that literally sitting in a sauna can help make you a fitter athlete. But like you said, it's been validated by science. Dr. Rhonda Patrick has done a great job with her YouTube videos describing the benefits of sauna to the cardiovascular system. Mark Sisson just did a great article on marksdailyapple.com detailing and sending links to all the studies. So it's the real deal. I believe it's apparently it's not new. It's been going on in Scandinavia for 800 years or something. But now we're finally awakening to the power of the sauna for physical benefit.
Well, in addition to Finland, in Northern Europe for 800 or more years, you've got the Russian banya, you've got North American sweat lodge. In different places of the world, there are various versions and variations of the traditional sauna experience, but they're all basically the same concept where you are sitting in a hot room, pouring water on rocks to generate steam as desired, and then experiencing those benefits of both relaxation and wellness. To your comment about the aerobic, it is interesting for those who have been in a sauna, a true sauna. They know that when you sit in that sauna, in that heat, it does not take long for your heart to start beating faster. And I've been in saunas where, especially in Finland and in Germany, where they get them so hot that your heart just starts beating like crazy, and it's you're literally huffing and puffing in the experience. Now, of course, you control that by how hot you want it, but it is an aerobic experience, which then generates circulation improvement and expanded capillaries and so forth in your body as your body heats, and then that generates all kinds of additional health benefits, many of which are medically documented.
So Dr. Kelly Starrett, leading health authority, sauna enthusiast, was describing to me the importance of getting quite uncomfortable in there, to where you feel quite hot and are sweating profusely to trigger these heat shock proteins and maximize the physical, hormonal, and health benefits. Can you talk about the various temperatures that we're going to experience, say, in the health club or in the home setting, what options you have with your units, and how all these things fall into place, including, I'm setting you up for like a 5-part question here, but including the lower temperature infrared saunas, compare and contrast?
Well, boy, those are a lot of questions. Let's start with that infrared for a minute. Infrared is low temperature, generally getting to between 125, 140 degrees. There's no water involved, so there's no steam, and it may sound hot to people, but 140 degrees is not hot to sit in that. Hot is when you get to 185 or more, and I've been in saunas in Europe where they're upwards of 200 degrees. And of course, you don't want to get so hot that it's unhealthy, but most studies say that 200 degrees or less is perfectly fine. And yes, you do have quite an endorphin release when you're in there, and then you go from the extreme heat into extreme cold. And so people hear about saunas where they go from the hot sauna and then jump into the cold lake and back and forth. Well, I will attest to that. I've been to Finland alone many times and have literally gone from that hot sauna after 10 or 15 minutes where it feels like I got to get out of here, and then jumping in the cold February water of a hole in the ice, and of course having to get out of there instantly, and you can't wait to get back in the sauna. And whether it's an icy lake or a cold shower or a dunk tank or jumping into a swimming pool or a lake, the back and forth is what becomes the true sauna experience. And, over here, when you go to a hotel or something, you say, let's go in the sauna, and you go in there for 15 or 20 minutes and you're done. But over there, a sauna is not an event, it's an experience, and it can take hours where you're just spending the better part of an evening going back and forth, grabbing some lunch in between, and going back and forth again. And by the time you finish, it is absolutely exhilarating, and you are totally spent. I've never run a marathon like you, but I'm guessing that when you're all done with a true sauna experience, you feel as wiped and relaxed as the hours following your completion of a marathon. It's an amazing experience. It really is.
So I understand what's happening here is the hormetic stressor, the fight or flight response, is being activated due to the exposure to hot temperatures, and that causes the flood of stress hormones. We're familiar with the cortisol spike in the bloodstream and all these things that sometimes we talk about them in a negative connotation. When you're in the traffic jam, then you're arguing with your boss, and then you're stressed about your bills, and the prolonged stimulation of the fight or flight response is what's destroying the health of the modern human. But in this case, we're getting this short-term hormetic stressor, and then, when you exit and recalibrate and return back to homeostasis, you are strengthening your body's reserves and your circulatory system, your oxygen delivery, and all those things. So I appreciate how you describe the sauna experience, which is A, going in there and getting hot, and then B, coming out and either going into cold, which is another hormetic stressor, and turning into this contrast therapy. Or I suppose if you just did the sauna and then returned to a moderate temperature shower and went about your day, you're in this wonderful post exercise or post sauna state where you're getting a fitness and an adaptation response.
Certainly, and I gave the extreme of my Finnish experiences going from 200 degrees to ice water, but of course that is the extreme hot and the extreme cold. When I've been through many saunas, but a recent one where I had one of our barrel saunas sitting out in our backyard, and our office is in Michigan here. My home is in Michigan. Our factory is in West Virginia, but I would go in that sauna, And to cool off, I just had a chair sitting outside the sauna in the snow, and I would just go sit in the snow. It wasn't a dunk tank, but my body was steaming. I'm sitting in this chair, and after 4 or 5 minutes of that, I'm starting to cool off, and I'm ready to get back in the sauna. And then I would take an armful of snow, I'd bring it in the sauna, and I would dump it right on top of the heater, because the heaters are designed to take the water. And that snow would just gradually melt on that hot coals and just generate a perpetual steam into the sauna. And so that experience was not as cold as an ice lake, at least the shock of it. But it was a different way to experience the transition from hot to cold. You could do it with a cold shower. You could do it with an ice or a dunk tank. You could do it with simply stepping out of the sauna if it's in your basement and just sitting in a chair for a little bit, because going from 170 or 180 degree temperature to 70 or 80 degree temperature is still cooling off.
Right. And for the athlete, this study, which is so interesting to me, it's been passed around a lot. We'll put a note we'll put a link in the show notes. They're talking about athletes going in there after workouts for a half an hour and experiencing increased plasma cell volume, increased red blood cells, and then going and doing a performance test before and after this sauna experiment, and increasing their time to exhaustion. So it's sort of strengthening the fitness adaptation to the workout you just did by pairing it with sauna.
We spoke before this interview offline, and you're an athlete, and I told you I am not. So I can't speak from experience to that, but I do know I've heard many stories like you're saying where people following an intense workout like to get in the sauna. I've heard as many stories where some athletes prior to a workout like to get in the sauna. Maybe it's because they have stiff joints, maybe you want to loosen muscles, whatever. I think it underscores, though, that a sauna experience can be different for everybody. There are those that like to work out in a sauna. This is why the advent of hot yoga is becoming a thing. It's not hot, but it's a warm room. And lifting weights or exercising in a sauna in the warmth is becoming more popular. So some are finding the benefit before a workout, some during a workout, and some after a workout, which just shows the diversity of what a sauna can do for different people and different lifestyles, different body types, and different desires.
That's so funny, Rick, because, back in the 80s, 30 years ago, when I was first preparing for the dreaded Hawaii Ironman out on the lava fields of the Big Island of Hawaii, and the intense heat and how difficult it is to prepare on the mainland continent for that type of heat conditions, and guys would go in the sauna with their exercise bikes and do a workout, and everybody thought they were crazy, and they'd sweat 7 pounds of fluid out, but they were actually the trendsetters, the early adapters, because those sessions indeed help condition the body for performing in the heat. But not only that, they also improve the fitness adaptation. And now, when I'm in the sauna at the health club, this guy came in there with full dressed for spinning class, and he just sat on the bench in there with me. I'm in my bathing suit, finishing my workout, relaxing, and I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" And he's like, "Oh, I come in here and sit down for a few minutes before spinning class." And it's an absolutely brilliant idea that I'd never thought of until I saw this guy come in fully clothed, and I'm thinking, you're gonna sweat through all your clothes? No, he went in there for an appropriate length of time, and then when he sets foot in the gym or in the weight room, their body is warmed up literally, and it's injury prevention and just priming the body for peak performance, because that's what we're doing in the first 10 minutes of the session anyway. That's why the yoga class feels so good, and you can hold the stretches deeper due to the elevated temperature in the room.
Well, and two, when you get in a sauna prior to a workout, if it's most of the saunas in gyms and hotels, in my experience, they're not hot enough. They don't let you use water. It's a typical American experience where they just don't know what they're doing. Our health club the sauna is not even hot. It's at best warm. But a true sauna experience, you go in there and you can be sitting in there for 5 or 10 minutes, and actually, because your heart rate starts picking up, you're actually getting started on your warm up before you even get into spin class or whatever exercise class. So it's a little bit of a, I don't know, it's a little bit of a heads up on others, where in some cases that feels good. You're already getting your heart pumping by not doing anything except sitting there, and then you're ready to tear into it when you get into the class.
So tell me about the temperature ranges, such as the lame hotel one that's not hot enough. Can you give me some guesses about what we're seeing there? What is the Almost Heaven units? What's their range, and what's the recommended experience for the consumer? Are we going to work up to a higher temp? And then you mentioned in Europe going over 200 plus, and that sounds like that's a rare but valuable occasion to really get hot.
Well, there's no rules, and everybody has a different preference. So I'll preface it with that. And there is the safety issue. Again, I'm not speaking from a medical point of view, but generally, they'll say that anything above 198 degrees is probably getting too hot for the acceptance of most people. I am saying, though, that in Europe, and many of the experiences I've had, they intentionally get them above 200. Because that's what they want. And some people can't tolerate the heat. Your tolerance may be at, 165. Mine might be at 185. Interestingly, in some of the fitness clubs in Finland that I've been to, in Helsinki and Jyväskylä, they will have they call it a spa over there. So we call a spa a hot tub, but a spa over there is a place you go. And it'll have many types of experiences, including a big swimming pool and steam rooms and hot tubs, but saunas. And over there in Finland, it's men separate from women. And so when you go into the men's section, they had literally 4 saunas lined up in a row, saunas that would hold 10 to 12 people in them. And each one was set at a different temperature. And so converting to Fahrenheit, maybe one was at 160 degrees, one was at 170, 180, and 195. And they kept them at those temperatures, and people would either select the sauna temperature that they already knew that was best for them, or sometimes people would graduate up. They'd start in this one, and then they'd cool off, and then they'd go into this one. Once again, it's not a 20-minute one-and-done experience over there. It's an event. It's a multi-hour thing where then you get cleaned up and shower and go in the swimming pool and then go back in the sauna. And it just goes back and forth. To your question, our saunas will get as hot as really you want them to, up to the 200. But the fair typical range, I say fair, I mean preferred, is generally, I would say, 180 to 195. That most people find that range to be an exhilarating sauna experience. But there are those that prefer to have the room at 150, 160 degrees and keep it there. And the rare person that wants it hotter, you can get them to do that as well.
Right. I'm going with K-Star, my man, when he says get as hot as you can and sweat like crazy until you can't hardly take it and then exit. And I think he's going with the concept that the generation of heat shock proteins is where you get these phenomenal health benefits. And if the listener wants to Google that term or look for Rhonda Patrick's video on it, these are this wonderful adaptive response that has wide-ranging benefits. Can you talk some about that, or what's kicking in when we get profound exposure to heat?
Sure. There's many benefits I've experienced personally. Those that use saunas regularly would attest to this, and of course it's promoted both, on the web, but also in many medical studies. First of all, when your heart starts beating faster in that high temperature, you're pushing more blood through your body, and by doing that, the blood vessels are expanding. You're getting improved circulation, and that can lead to improvements in just how you feel, of course, but also in muscle relief and just feeling better about and more relaxed and so forth. It leads to improved skin tone, everything from just having darker complexion if you're using it on a regular basis, but also the sweating. Many studies indicate that it helps with acne, it helps with psoriasis, it improved skin tone. All of these things are side benefits. Of course, they vary from individual to individual, but they're pretty common across the board. Joint and muscle relief. People with a sore back or sore muscles, or it's different than an infrared. An infrared, as I said, doesn't get hot, but it also directs the heat just at one direction, one place. Whereas a sauna, the entire room gets hot, and the higher you get into the sauna, the hotter it is. And then there's the respiratory aspect. When you sprinkle water on those hot rocks, you get this incredible burst of steam. And if you mix a little eucalyptus or one of the other essential oils in the water, you sprinkle that on, you breathe that in. It's like in a room with a delightfully smelling vaporizer. And it dissipates quickly because all that moisture gets absorbed in that hot air. And that's the sauna experience. It's continually sprinkling water on the rocks as desired, and then that makes it a wet sauna. And once that burns off, it's a dry sauna, and it's just back and forth. In addition to then stepping out of the sauna and cooling off and back in, it's just it's always a back and forth. And you and I already talked about some of the health benefits of the sweating, the intense sweating that goes on in those temperatures. As an athlete, your body sweats for really two reasons. You sweat to cool off, and that obviously is very, very important. But you also sweat when you're not feeling well, when you have a fever, and what your body's doing is trying to detox. It's trying to bleed out all those, or sweat out all those impurities that are making you ill or making you feel the discomfort. And so it's a very real experience, and by artificially elevating the temperature in your body by being in this hot room, you force your body to sweat, and you experience this phenomenon you would get when you work out intensely or when you're ill and you sweat, but the benefits of sweating. It's a purification.
Rick, you're getting me excited, man. I mean, sounds too good to be true. It sounds like almost heaven just to go in there and have this be part of your daily routine. And I didn't know that was allowed. That's great that you can put the essential oils in there and throw those on the rocks with the water, and you can make a eucalyptus environment, relax the heck out of you.
Oh yeah, there's many different aromas that you can use. We offer a variety of different ones, and it only takes a couple of drops. But of course, people ask often, when I buy my sauna, what should I do? How hot should I have it? What oils should I have? And there is no pat answer, because it is personal preference. As we talked about, you will determine in short order when you like to use the sauna. Some people like to use it before bed. Some hate using it before bed. They prefer it first thing in the morning. People, as we discussed before, workout or after. You'll figure that stuff out. You'll figure out the temperature you like it in. You'll figure out how much time you want to spend in it, how you want to cool off. You'll figure out what, if any, essential oils you like. You'll figure out whether you like to do it with people, as you said, an experience of sitting in conversation with your son or your spouse, or maybe it's just alone time. There's no rules, and everybody will experience differently, but in all cases, it's a good outcome.
We don't have any disgruntled customers saying their life's been ruined by getting in the sauna frequently.
Not at all. Not at all. And, you and I, again, we talked beforehand, but we've really seen in the last 10 years, I think, a real increase, of course, in the volume of sauna sales, but also in the interest and the knowledge, the education. 10 years ago, people didn't even know what a sauna was. And then the infrareds came, they started to think that's a sauna, but then people that would buy them and read about them figure, well, they don't really get hot and you can't use water. And it doesn't mean they're a bad thing. It's just, it's not a sauna. And So awareness is becoming much more prevalent in sauna sales, or generating sauna sales. And also, what we've become very, very good at is building a sauna at a decent price that people can put together themselves. So, a couple could purchase the sauna, and it'll be delivered to their home, curbside, and they can get it in their garage, and in a matter of hours they can get that set up outdoors in the basement, a gym, wherever they want to put it. But it's not complicated. Call an electrician to do the wiring, very simple, and you're off and enjoying the sauna experience and entering the sauna world.
Right, Rick, I've done a lot of research when I was deciding to take the plunge and get into this scene and get something at home so I would actually do it rather than look at my punch card in the gym and realize I haven't been there in 17 days. And I looked into the infrared, talked to people in that game that had them and love them, and then, of course, got in deeper with the idea of seeing the best benefits when you're really hot and sweaty. And I know you're the owner of a dry sauna operation, and so you're not the most independent observer here. But when you talk about that infrared, I know there's health benefits to it, but you just describe it as a different experience. It's not really a sauna because the temperature is not that high. But can you compare and contrast a little bit? Like, what are the benefits that you're getting from the infrared? And we kind of have a sense of what we're not getting, which is that sweating, that detoxification, the heat shock proteins being generated from the extreme stress of going up to 200 degrees.
Right, and you're right. I can't be totally objective on the infrared experience, and there will be those that disagree with me. I think many of the supposed medical benefits of the infrared to me are a bit dubious because all the benefits they list are the same benefits that a sauna generates, but since it's not high temperature, it really can't be generated. And I'll leave the proof of that to an expert, not me. But when it doesn't get hot, it doesn't accomplish the same thing. But on the other hand, if someone cannot tolerate hot temperatures but likes it warm, and also has very limited space, or wants to do a plug-in to a 110 volt outlet rather than a hardwire 220, well then an infrared might be their only alternative, and that's a step in the right direction. I guess I can say that about them. We offer a few, but again, it's a very, very tiny part of what we do. Can I say one more thing about the whole gym experience? This is a bit of an irony, I think, but when you know how people, and they end up, if you get going to a gym, it becomes a bit of a habit. You go, you like to go, there's many types of equipment, you can take classes. Most people I know who decided that they wanted to do their workout at home and purchase their own exercise gym or do their own whatever, it's a flash in the pan. They buy the weight set, they buy the exercise bike, they do whatever. But the discipline just isn't there because you don't have the motivation of everybody else doing the same thing. And I've seen many people do that. They invest in this stuff and then they don't use it. But if they get involved in a routine with a gym or something, then they stick with it. The opposite's with the sauna. People are often uncomfortable getting in the sauna at the gym, or it's not hot enough or whatever. But when you have your own sauna, you have privacy. It's there whenever you want to use it. It's a passive experience. You don't need to, get mentally prepared to work out and do all that, or you don't have the right equipment. It's likely better than the experience you'd have at the gym anyway in a sauna. And to have all that at your own home very affordably, or making it affordable, is a quite a different experience, I guess, or a different outcome than investing in workout equipment for your home, where you can never compete with the gym.
Oh, that's a brilliant insight, man. I love that. And it's so relevant to me because the idea of creating the optimal environment, and you have all the fitness toys at your disposal at home, but that motivational factor of getting in the car and driving somewhere, and now you're committed. You're not going to drive to the gym parking lot and go, I don't feel like it, I'll turn around. Very unlikely. But when you're walking past your weight bench in the garage because you're going to get some more light bulbs, you very likely will look at it and go, not now. So the physical location and the act of placing yourself in a supportive environment with other people working out, it's solid gold. That's why the gyms exist. But then it's sort of like the opposite. The sauna requires no discipline, but it does require that convenience factor where you can look at it in your backyard or your garage and go, if I flip a switch in 20 minutes, I'm going to be in heaven. And I think that's super relevant to consider for everyone, is that environment. In fact, I've mentioned Kelly Starrett on the show, and we spent the large majority of our podcast together talking about setting yourself up for success and battling against all the untoward, unhealthy influences of modern life. And we're talking about technology and how you can put your phone plugged in outside your bedroom, and that's where the cord is, so that you automatically will charge it up there and won't have that temptation in your bedroom. And then all the way down the line to getting yourself committed to a class or a trainer, and then having the accoutrements at home. And of course, he's got the chest freezer and the sauna, as I do. And boy, you can't beat that, to have it right there, snap your fingers, and you're going to town. So in your case, Rick, what's the frequency of your use, and what's your recommendation to someone who's just getting started? Do you do this as a daily practice, a few times a week? How long do you spend in there, etc.?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I have to make a true confession right now. At this moment, I'm between saunas. We moved into a small condo here since our last home, and we're building a home. So at the moment, I don't have a sauna in my house. However, I have for many, many years, and I will shortly again. And, we've had indoor saunas and outdoor saunas. I like them outdoor better. We manufacture both. Actually, we sell about 50-50 indoor and outdoor. But I like the outdoor experience myself. And as far as frequency, I would use mine when I have one set up and ready for use, probably 4 or 5 times a week. I generally do, it's about a 30 to 40 minute routine. I don't do the finished program generally, but I like to do it to relax. And so I don't do it before a workout. I will do it, generally not, I go to the gym to work out, so it really has nothing to do with my workout routine. It has more to do with my after work routine, or on a Saturday late morning after I've run my errands and had my breakfast and so forth. I love to just get in there and relax for a while. So that's my routine. And temperature-wise, I like about I generally like to start at about 180, sit in the sauna, and it's a dry sauna now. I've not used water yet. If it's in the wintertime, I'll go then sit outside for 5 minutes, and then I'll go back in the sauna, and now it's a little hotter. Do that a few times, and by the time it's up to about 190, I start sprinkling water on the rocks to generate the steam and the wet sauna, and that's how I'll then end up. So I would say after 30, 35, 40 minutes, that's my typical routine, and I'll get cleaned up and continue my day. I don't generally do it before bed. I don't know. I'm a veg out in front of my iPad and TV before bed. That's but the sauna comes earlier in the evening or late in the day.
Well, we want the body temperature to drop naturally in tandem with the melatonin release and the other hormonal factors that are preparing us for a good night's sleep. So I can't imagine that would be too effective to get anywhere near the bedtime. And I know I've been in that sauna in the gym after my speed golf session, and then it got dark, and then I'm over in the gym, and then I'm in the sauna, and it's getting 8:30, 8:45 p.m. I'm trying to go to bed at 10, and I had to solve that puzzle with a dunk into my chest freezer cold tub. Of course, you can do the same with a cold shower, so I suppose if you use sauna in the evening, you could always pair it with a cold experience and have that be a wonderful evening ritual. In fact, the contrast therapy of going from cold swimming pool to warm spa in the wintertime has been part of my lifestyle for a very long time. But you're not feeling super hot after a session like that, especially because it entails water, not dry sauna. But that sounds like fun. And so you were saying you're going in and out, in the door and out, especially in the early part of your experience, just for waiting for the temperature to heat up?
Well, yeah, when the sauna will reach its maximum temperature, depending on the ambient temperature, but 45 minutes to an hour tops. And so, I'll generally step into the sauna after I've turned it on 40 minutes or so and start. It's not quite as hot as it's going to get yet. And that's when I go back and forth. I mentioned the winter, Brad, we have snow here in Michigan. But in the summer, what I'll do is I've got an outdoor shower, or had an outdoor shower, and hooked directly up to a garden hose. And I couldn't use it in the winter because it'd all freeze, and that's when I'd use just the snow. But in the summer or early spring, late fall, that water coming out of that garden hose in that outdoor shower is just icy. And that was just exhilarating. I love that. And then I'd go back in the sauna, and I had the shower right outside the sauna door. I mean, right there. So I'd step out of the sauna and into that shower. And, when you're sitting in that sauna for 10 or 15 minutes and it's 180 degrees, I'll tell you what, that ice water feels just delightful. And then after a minute of that, you're ready to get back in that sauna. It's just back and forth.
Yeah, it's hard to describe how awesome that feels, that contrast of going hot, cold, hot, cold. And I find when I'm done with the experience, you're just so incredibly relaxed. I wouldn't do it right before you have to give a TED talk or run a triathlon, because your body is just, you've never felt more relaxed. And so I wouldn't say I'm highly energized after a contrast session, but boy, doing something like that at the end of the day, I mean, that's when, we talk so much these days about, trying to come down off this fight or flight, hectic pace of modern life where your brain's going and ruminating all day long, and you're working through your to-do list, and you have constant stimulation from tech addiction. And to unplug and stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system response is critical to general health, as well as getting a good night's sleep and all those important benefits. And I can't think of a better way. There's just no other way to get that relaxed. Maybe a full body massage for an hour and a half, but those are few and far between for most people.
When I'm in, again, I talk about Northern Europe and Finland, but I get there several times a year. It's amazing over there, this multi-hour experience that you're not in the sauna the whole time. They'll often have snacks and food out there, and over there, I wouldn't recommend it here, but they'll have a couple of beers before the sauna and afterwards. But they conduct a lot of conversation and business meetings in the sauna. So I've been there where, I was picked up at the airport and said, let's get to the sauna. And get in the sauna, and that's where you conduct business.
Yeah, and they'll see if this American guy can hang if he begs out after 18 minutes. They're like, oh, we'll do business with somebody else. They're to see if you're the real deal. And then, oh, here, Rick, have a third beer while you're in a 180 degree temperature environment.
Right. We have a wall here in our office. We have a lot of glass walls that we write on. And we have a lot of Finnish sauna quotes and fables and so forth. And all it talks about, I can't say one verbatim right now, but some that talk about, some of the best business is conducted in the sauna, and a house is only a house. It's a home with a sauna, and there's just all kinds of Finnish proverbs that are out there that we start posting on our wall here. And it's kind of interesting how they look at the sauna over there. It's a part of life, whereas it's not that here. Now, as a sauna manufacturer, I hope it gets to that point, and it's certainly heading in the right direction. But again, it's about education, awareness, actually having the experience. So we just need to spread the love of saunas.
Right, and we talked before the recording about kind of the the psychological benefits, the social benefits of having such a ritual in play. And I told you that, with my spa, my jacuzzi use my whole life, it's been like a great bonding experience for my son, starting when he was 0 years old. I have pictures of me holding this little body in the spa, and we'd go out there every single night. And over the years, it would be a place where we'd get to talking, which is not an easy opportunity with a teenager or what have you. And now he's a college student, and we're working through challenges of life and talking about the political environment and anything that's on our mind. But you don't usually get to this stuff when you're at a busy restaurant having a meal or driving in a car even. It's just sort of the relaxed environment where you kind of unplug and let it flow. And I think the social and the psychological benefits are profound. The fact that you are taking the time to do something beneficial and relaxing for yourself sets you up for a happy, balanced, fulfilled life. And I think if you don't have time to go for a ritual of 30 minutes length every day, then we got to take a close examination of your priorities, because I'm betting that you have an impressive mowing down through your Netflix queue, but that's not quite in the same category as this complete physical, psychological experience of being exposed to heat or doing the contrast therapies like the Finns have done. It's a very important priority.
When we were, my kids were, they're all grown now, but when they were younger, we lived on a lake, and we had an outdoor sauna there. And my boys and I in particular, we did sit in the sauna, and we do exactly as you described with your son. You'd have conversation, and then we'd run off the dock and jump in the lake, and then we'd come back in the sauna. And so that was that ritual. But I know, again, back to Finland, my wife has joined me there several times, and one of our more recent trips we went, and a couple different occasions in different saunas, the family of our hosts joined us, and they're young children or teenage children, and you just sit in the sauna, and as you say, you talk, and what's interesting about the sauna is everybody's level of heat tolerance or length of time they want to be in the sauna varies, and so they maybe start 6 in the sauna, but after, I don't know, some period of time, 2 would leave, and then they'd go in the showers or cool off in the lake, and then 2 more would peel off, and then another one would come back, and pretty soon it's just this hour-long or multi-hour experience where we're just coming and going and sharing conversation as we go, and it was real delightful. That was the first time my wife had experienced that, and she just commented how cool that was and how relaxed everybody was, and that these young teenagers over there just enjoyed hanging out with us, having conversation in the sauna, much like you described in your hot tub with your son. So yeah, it's an awesome opportunity to connect without the music blaring, without the technology sitting around you, and just talk.
Yeah, don't bring your iPhone in there because you're going to get the overheated warning anyway, man. Just talk. Oh, I love it, Rick. What a beautiful summation of the whole sauna experience. And we do have to give a plug for your business because it's within reach. It's an affordable experience now, and these units that you guys have are just absolutely beautiful. This barrel sauna made out of real wood. Everything's over at almostheaven.com. Get started on the decision right now, huh, Rick?
Yeah, highly encouraged. Absolutely.
And you have these specials going, and this is direct to consumer that allows you to make things really affordable. Like you said at the outset, the installation is so easy. So I don't mind giving a big plug for you here. It's gonna improve people's lives. So I appreciate you spending the time to detail the benefits and your whole journey to the almost heaven scene.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about not only our business but also a passion that you and I clearly share. So thank you for the opportunity, and to all your listeners out there, almostheaven.com, you get tons of information, and any questions, we've got a full staff that can help you at any time.
Well, not any time because they take their breaks throughout the workday, right? For that 30-minute stint, you'll get a recording and they'll be back soon. Love it. Rick Mouw from Almost Heaven Saunas, thank you for talking about hot topics here on the podcast.
Thank you, Brad.
Da 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 da. Oh my, I get to talk about my Almost Heaven sauna. This has been a life-changing acquisition that gives me easy and constant access to one of the most health-boosting therapeutic treatments imaginable, the sauna. Yes, of course, it's been a cultural tradition in Scandinavia and other cold weather countries for hundreds of years. Maybe it's your favorite part of your health club visit or your ski trip vacation resort. But what about if you had a personal sauna in your own home, in your garage or your backyard? Check out almostheaven.com. They make these super attractive barrel-shaped saunas made of thick, solid wood. None of this fake stuff. It's super easy to assemble. They ship it in a kit to your door. You watch the video, you put it together, get an electrician to wire it, and you're good to go. Turn the timer on, and 30 minutes later, you are in the hot, hot, dry, up to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is the magic zone to get the vaunted health benefits of sauna exposure. You may have heard of these highly lauded heat shock proteins. They deliver profound benefits at the cellular level to boost immune function, cognitive function, cardiovascular function, improve muscular response to exercise and recovery from intense exercise, and of course, longevity. Go to foundmyfitness.com, Rhonda Patrick, and download her report for the extreme scientific details of how beneficial sauna is. I have this classic outdoor pinnacle model. It's 6 foot by 6 foot, fits 4 adults sitting comfortably or 2 adults reclining and instantly going into napping mode. I know, man, when you get in there, no matter what kind of day you had or what mood you're in, you will instantly feel chill. And this is called a hormetic stressor, a positive natural stressor that creates an adaptive response. So with regular sauna use, you become more resilient to all forms of stress that you experience in daily life. Same with my cold plunge into the cold freezer. It delivers these similar health and hormonal benefits that will make it an absolutely essential part of a relaxing, stress-balanced day. Please go check them out. It will change your life. And you can get these beautiful 6x6 or a larger model or even smaller for a surprisingly affordable price due to the direct relationship. You order it on almostheaven.com. They ship it to your door. I can't say enough about it. I'm so excited. This sounds like a commercial. Okay, it is a commercial. But let me tell you, beyond the health benefits, this is a social centerpiece. It's a place to relax and chill and splash the water on the rocks and get a burst of steam. So go pay a quick visit to almostheaven.com. Warning, you're going to be tempted. Hey, do you want to hear an advertisement? If I sing it, would that be a little more palatable? I know that we sometimes get annoyed listening to ads on podcasts. Go ahead and hit the +15 or the +30-second button if you don't want to hear this. But I've also been exposed to some cool products and services when I listen to ads on certain podcasts. So once in a while, or more than that, I'm going to talk about stuff that I really use and enjoy and completely support. No BS. I absolutely promise that to you. And here's one thing I'd like to talk about, which are the awesome online multimedia educational courses that I created and host at Primal Blueprint. You can learn all about them, primalblueprint.com, and click on the courses button, especially the brand new 21-day Primal Reset. And this is kind of our entry point into turning around your diet and your lifestyle, getting healthy, escaping from the disastrous condition of carbohydrate dependency that plagues us in modern life, and becoming fat adapted. But you're led step by step with a series of videos every single day with objectives for 21 days to clean up your diet, ditch those bad foods, those grains, sugars, and refined vegetable oils, get your exercise program optimized. And believe me, it's not that difficult. It doesn't take that much time. A 5-minute workout can deliver awesome benefits. And I'll also take you through all the complementary lifestyle practices like getting your sleep habits dialed in. It's a lot of fun. I guide you every step of the way with great video content. That's just one of the courses. We also have the one for endurance athletes, all about the world's leading experts and everything from the Primal Endurance book brought to life. And of course, the Keto Reset, the New York Times best-selling book about going keto if you've already built some momentum with a low-carb diet. Just go over there and check it out. And because you're listening to this ad, I'm going to give you a super-duper top secret 20% discount off of your enrollment on any of those courses, and that is the code BRAD20. Tell your friends. Go for it. Make some changes in life. Do it the right way with complete guidance from me. If you're sick of my voice from the podcast, maybe it's time to switch over to video. But please go over to primalblueprint.com and check out the courses link of the great educational opportunities we have. Thank you for listening to this lengthy ad, and I appreciate you listening to the show too.